In this video, I will demonstrate a quick, easy, and very creative way of getting color into your faith journal using hand-painted backing papers. With just a set of water-based paints, you can easily fill a page with color. I will explain a simple approach to color mixing that you can use to make a harmonious background for a journal spread. This will make your journal pages unique and allow you to express your insights that you gained during your faith journaling. So this is my journal. Here's a little other sort of journal. I'll just show you an example of a backing paper that I created. So this page was created just using water-based paint and a large sheet of paper that I cut down. For today's example, we're going to be using an A4 sheet of paper, which can easily be folded in half and glued into a journal to make a really tidy spread. So this sheet has a lot of color. It's very bright. You get to choose when you make a backing paper. You can choose exactly the blend of colors that you want to use. And this is far easier, actually, than finding a sheet of bought paper that completely matches your needs for a very specific project. So let's get started. First, let's talk about paper. As a backing paper, you can use any kind of paper you'd like. You can use brown paper, white paper, A4 sheets. As I said before, they match perfectly in your A5 journal, folded in half. You don't have to just use plain white printer paper, which this is. You could use any colored paper that you wanted. There's no reason why you couldn't use a colored base for your backing paper. In fact, I often like to use a cream paper. But today I'm not going to use a colored paper. I'm going to use a plain white one. I want to keep it very simple. Another thing you can do is use a book of sketch paper. This is just a visual art diary. It's got a slightly thicker paper, which can be quite nice to use. And it's even a nice idea to fill up one of these with sheets for another day. So that's a fun way to go. But we're not going to do any of those today. We're going to keep it very, very simple, just to show you that just using paper that you probably already have on hand, plain white paper. I'm going to start with a little yellow, and what I want to do is I want to just do a couple of colors that goes well together, because one of the things I find about backing papers is that they can get a little busy. If you've got too many colors, I'm just spraying a little water on here to get these going. They can get a little bit confusing and they're not communicating well. So I wanted to get some golden colors, and I've got a little white there. It's just a little bit of white. And I'm going to put in a little bit of magenta over here. So I'm making a kind of blushy color there with the yellow and the magenta. And I can soften it with a little white here to make almost like a flesh tone. I think that looks really nice for this. Put a little bit of yellow here because I want multiple different colors that go well together to start coming in. So I'm going to start out by putting just some blobs of paint on here, and I've got a sheet of brown paper underneath, so I don't have to worry about my surface, because I want to go right up to the edges, and I want this to be page to be completely covered. So now I'm going to come in with some of this one, and then I'm going to get some of the magenta and go in directly, because I've already got some paint on my brush. It picks up a bit of rich color without it being too strong. So over here I can get a little bit more. Come back and get a bit of yellow. So this is, because this is printer paper, it's not very strong and it will not stand up to a lot of vigorous scrubbing. So try and avoid that and keep a light touch for this one. I'm not thinking about this too much. I'm just wanting to put down color quite quickly. My ideal would be to have this done in just a couple of minutes so it doesn't get too uptight. I'm going to come back and get a little bit of this. Go in here. Fill in all the little white spaces. And now I want to get a bit stronger. Go into one area here. This is the magenta. So far all we've used is magenta and yellow and a little bit of white. So of course magenta and yellow together makes a kind of orange color. And I'm going to get a little bit white here, go down here. I want to fill in a little bit more of the more goldeny color just in here. Filling in all the spaces. Don't have to, because you can come back later with a different color into those ones. So this is a simple, very simple spread, a simple sheet of paper that it will dry quite quickly. This will probably be, depending on how warm your place is, it will be ready in maybe a few minutes to be used for something. But you can keep adding more layers if you'd like. The idea of a backing paper is it's not a painting, so you're not expecting it to carry the weight of being a picture of something. It's more of a suggestion of color, and it can have the potential to express ideas if you work with it and add more layers to it, add more details to it, or look at it even a day or two later, you might see an area of it that looks like something like, sometimes I see a landscape in. So I'm just going over now and putting in some lines. Yeah, maybe it's like wheat growing. I'm not trying hard to paint something. I don't really want to get editing my ideas at this stage. This is just about putting down intuitive layer of color, and that's all. So that's probably all I want to do with this image at this time. I think that's good enough for a backing paper for another day. Now I will do another one. So you can see that the pages curl a bit as they dry. That's okay. You can flatten them out by, once they're dry, stacking them on top of one another. And in any case, when you glue them down, they will flatten out very, very easily. So here are 3 basic backing papers that all I used was paint. They have very, very different looks to them. But with these papers, you can put in some additional marks, marker pen, pencil, coloring pencil, or just use them exactly as they are. Yeah, so using a simple palette of just a couple of colors and using a box of water-based paint, you can create some beautiful, unique backing papers. Each one is completely different, and they'll make your journals full of vivid color and inspiration as you learn to apply the paint in ways that are intuitive and just fun. Feel free to experiment and enjoy it to the full. So my colors have now dried on these backing sheets that I made earlier. And now I can go in and add another layer of texture, lines, or markings that will give it a little added dimension. So here I've got a Tombow pen, and I've chosen a color that's similar to this one here, because that's the one that sort of jumped out at me. And I'm just going to playfully, not any specific plan, and I'm holding the end of the Tombow pen so that I don't get too uptight and try and draw something. I'm just making intuitive markings here, patterns, lines, and texture. And so I'm just going to loosely go around and ring in some of the solid colors of shapes of color using very loose curling lines. It's just one thing that you can do. I'll do this one here too. I'm just using harmonious color, so I don't want to distract too much. I'll put in a little bit here, define some areas here. You don't have to cover the whole page. You don't have to do this with any rules or plan or anything. Just when it feels enough, you can stop. So I like that, but I think I might like to put in another color as well. So for this one, I'm going to put in something that's a little different. I'll try a gold. This is quite a strong one, so I'm not going to use as much of it, and I'm going to use it mainly on the gold areas so that it doesn't make too much contrast. On the darker areas, because this one's quite dark. Just making some little marks. Eventually you have a kind of a feeling about marks that you feel comfortable with yourself. Like for me, these kind of little dotting marks are, they're fun. But you might like to do shapes or triangles or squares or circles. You can also go in and just put in texture. This Tombow pen is a little bit dry now, but that's okay. You can still add some texture. Put in some here. I don't think I need to do all too much more on this. When I'm doing a spread, I can always add more color to it then if I want to. But this gives it a little bit of dimension. It's got a bit of light and dark. It's got a bit of texture and a bit of movement, and it's got a lot of color. So I'll try it with another one.
So to recap what we've done today, we've looked at making quick backing papers using a limited color palette of a range between two different colors. And we've done a series of pages really quite quickly that have a very different mood, tone, feel, energy, sense, however you want to describe it. So these papers are now dry, they've been decorated, they can be used just as is. They can be cut up, they can be turned into elements for your journal, or they can be saved for a day when you want to journal but you don't want to have to go through the effort of preparing a background. So these are a great resource to have. You can keep them in a folder, and anytime you want to do some faith journaling and you're not sure where to start, painting a quick piece of paper, just using some copier paper like this, can be a great way to get started and to creatively enter the Lord's presence and be ready for journaling. So I hope you enjoyed. See you next time when we do more faith journaling. Bye.